Wounded Knee, a quiet that never lifted. Before the sun rises, the cold does the talking. It moves across the prairie like a slow breath, making every sound smaller, every person quieter. Families gather close, mothers, fathers, children, standing in a circle of worry and exhaustion. They are Lakota. They have come under the leadership of Spotted Elk, known to soldiers as Bigfoot, seeking medicine, safety, and a path through winter. Snow crusts the ground. The wind carries no mercy. Around them stands the U.S. 7th Cavalry. Horses stamp, metal clinks. Orders are easy to give in a language many in the circle do not speak. The soldiers have been told that the ghost dance is dangerous, that it might be a rebellion in disguise. The Lakota know it as prayer, movement, song, hope. Two different fears meet in the same cold morning, and neither fear knows how to listen. The camp is encircled. That word matters. Encirclement is not just about where people stand. It's about who gets to decide what happens next. Inside the ring are families, blankets pulled tight, children shifting in the snow. Outside the ring are rifles, commands, and a plan. Disarmament, the officers say. Hand over your guns, all of them. In a perfect world, that order ends with safety. In a real world of broken treaties and hard winters, it carries a different weight. The search begins. Soldiers move through the crowd. There is confusion. There are words that need an interpreter and feelings that do not. Someone hesitates. Someone argues about a rifle. A body turns. A hand grabs. And a struggle begins that no one truly controls. Then a shot. Not a speech, not a negotiation, not a vote, just a single, small explosion that rips the quiet in half. Chaos doesn't warn anyone. It arrives whole. Gunfire erupts. Hotchkiss guns, small artillery open on the camp. Sound becomes a wall. Smoke bites the air. People run in the only directions they can, which is everywhere and nowhere at once. Inside this storm are families, not ranks. The ground becomes a ledger of loss. Names that will not be called again. Stories that will not be finished. When the firing slows, the cold returns to the front of the scene, covering what people can no longer cover themselves. This event has a name: Wounded Knee. It also has a date: December 29th, 1890. But a name and a date are not enough. Wounded Knee marks an ending that was years in the making. An ending to armed resistance on the plains. An ending that many would call the closing of the so-called Indian Wars. For the Lakota, and for many Native nations, it was not an ending at all. It was a beginning of grief that moved forward through time, showing up in policy, in schools, in households, and in memory. In the ledger of the United States, Wounded Knee sits next to the Dawes Act and allotment, policies that cut tribal lands into pieces and handed the pieces away. It sits beside boarding schools that took children far from their families and punished their language, their prayers, their hair, and their names. It sits beside medals and official citations given to soldiers. And it sits beside the quiet of families who still tell the story in a different tone, with different details, and with a different understanding of what order means. When people talk about American history, Wounded Knee is often placed at the end of a chapter, as if to say, this is where the frontier closes. But the truth is heavier. Wounded Knee reveals what happens when policy is built on fear and misunderstanding. When power is used to quiet voices rather than hear them, and when people imagine safety can be created inside a rifle circle. It shows how a government can confuse control with peace, and how families end up paying for that confusion with everything they have. The impact did not stop in 1890. It shaped how the nation told stories. Who gets to be a hero? Who gets to be a threat? Whose grief is legible enough to count? It shaped how textbooks described pacification, settlement, and progress. It shaped how laws were written and how they were enforced. And it shaped how Native communities carried memory forward. Through ceremony, through testimony, through the refusal to let silence be the last word.
If you listen closely, Wounded Knee asks a hard set of questions that still matter. What does surrender mean when promises have already been broken? What does disarm mean when fear is the loudest voice in the room? What happens to freedom when power and misunderstanding share the same uniform? And who gets to write the final line of the story? We approach this event with respect, because the people in that circle were not symbols. They were families. They had songs, jokes, responsibilities, and plans for tomorrow. They were not in the way of history. They were inside it. They still are. Today, we will start reading a short story inspired by that morning. A narrative voice placed inside the wind and the worry, inside the circle. Your job is not to fix the past. Your job is to read with care. Notice where fear turns into decisions. Notice where power speaks and who translates. Notice the exact moments when hope bends, breaks, or quietly survives. Take your time. Slow is not a problem today. Let the details do the talking. The cold, the ring of soldiers, the single shot that changes the shape of the air. If you feel the weight of the story, you're not doing it wrong. You're doing it right. Respect is a skill. Your assignment is posted in Google Classroom. You'll read in short sections and pause after each chapter to answer 2 to 3 simple questions. At the end, you'll write 1 CER paragraph. Claim: 2 pieces of evidence with page numbers. And Reasoning that explains how your evidence proves your claim. Paper copies of the written portion are available upon request, if you prefer to handwrite. When you're ready, open Google Classroom and begin.